This was Call of Duty in 2008. No Nicki Minaj, no cartoon skins, no battle passes, just a rifle, a helmet, and a war that you didn't want to be in. The tone was serious, the atmosphere was heavy. You weren't chasing skins, you were just trying to make it through a mission. Today's Call of Duty doesn't even feel like the same franchise. And maybe that's okay for some people, but for me, I miss when Call of Duty felt grounded, when explosions could take your limbs, when the menu music made you feel uneasy, when the game reminded you, war is hell. When I load up Call of Duty World at War, I'm struck by the menu music. It didn't hype me up. It didn't make me feel like I needed to jump in and get XP. It made me feel tense. It had such a thick atmosphere to it, because once you're in, it only gets heavier. World at War brings the harsh reality just through its menu music, and that's before even going into the game. The maps feel bleak and the consequences feel real. If I was to get hit by a grenade right now, my limbs may explode and come off of me. Death felt sudden and serious. The consequences are real, and lives are short. And what I like about playing these older Call of Duties is it feels stripped back. Yes, you can grind XP. Yes, you can unlock attachments through doing certain challenges, like getting 40 headshots. That might unlock you a scope. But we're not going for colourful skins that feel out of place in a real Warzone. There's something thematically consistent about playing World at War that makes me feel more immersed in the game itself. It wasn't just the gunfights, it was the silence between them that stuck with me. I mean, just walking around the battlefield, you have these quiet moments. The maps themselves also feel thematically consistent. Take this map for example. We're surrounded by rubble. There must have been artillery strikes here, a long drawn out war. There's constant death happening around me. Gunshots, explosions, corpses. It feels like we're in a battlefield. Rising moments in music happen periodically throughout a game, but for the most part, it remains quiet, with small moments to add tension. Everything works together to give a cohesive experience. So how does World at War feel different to a modern Call of Duty? Well, the atmosphere of the game is thick. Everything is thematically consistent. There are no random characters running around the battlefield, just soldiers with helmets and guns. We're all nameless people walking into the meat grinder of the machine gun. You could die at any minute. An explosion may hit you and your limbs may come off. It's visceral. And like I said, it's thematically consistent. Everything builds upon each other to build an atmosphere that feels like it really grabs you. It makes it a very immersive experience. And you have these quiet moments. I can walk around the edge of this map and take my time, check every corner. Is there someone around this corner? There we go. We clear the corners, we come up behind the enemy. People may come up behind me. I don't know what's going to happen at any given minute. And I think all of that builds into such an engaging experience. It makes me want to stick around. It's not constant dopamine. There's not this constant action. Whereas this, with the quiet moments, the slow moments, I'm able to take my time, not feel like I'm at odds with people playing as fast and as hard as they can. I can have an enjoyable experience trying to take my time, line up my shots, have a more slow-paced experience. And that's just something that I really value in a video game. And I also really value that feeling of thematic consistency. It makes me feel like this world is realistic. Even though it may not be a realistic portrayal of war, it feels realistic. And just that feeling makes me want to stick around in the game just a little bit longer. It feels like I'm engaging in something important. Whereas modern CODs may feel like a throwaway experience. This feels more meaningful. What's also great about World at War is the fact that I can choose to load up a game and be in it in seconds, whereas current Call of Duty may take minutes to even load up the game, start loading into a lobby, wait around for the pre-game lobby to happen, then get into a fight. World at War lets you get into it instantly. All I have to do is click the server browser, join the server with people on it, and I'm in. It takes seconds to load, and that's something to be said for older games. They just load very quickly. Because this game is from 2008, it loads almost instantly on modern hardware. And that is something I actually really miss when I load up modern Call of Duty. When they released Call of Duty World War II, there was a lot of loading screens. There was a whole lobby system before you get into a game where you have to look at the other people joining. You have to look at their skins. You have to look at your party before it loads in. I never cared about that, and I still don't. I just want to get in and play the video game. Modern Call of Duty is a marketing machine. I mean, just look at this. I'm on the store and there's a bulldog with a gun. There's a VR lady here with a gun as well. It feels more like you're an influencer with a gun than a soldier in a war. I mean, look at this gecko as well. These skins just make me feel like I'm in a more hyper-realistic version of Fortnite. And do I really want that in a game that's supposed to be grounded in reality, the reality of war? But perhaps these modern Call of Duties are just so far away from that, so focused on marketing and generating microtransactions, that war and grounded in realism is just the last thing that's on their mind. And I'm not saying that these games can't be fun, but somewhere along the way, fun became the product, not the purpose. I mean, let's take the Battle Pass, for instance. Upon loading the game, I'm confronted with, have a look at the Battle Pass. Do you want to buy it? And what do you really get out of it? You get gun skins, stickers, double XP, things that make you want to engage in dopamine, a cycle of dopamine. Unlocking these skins, what does it really mean? Nothing. This is instilling a fear of missing out. Here's your double XP, but it only lasts 1 hour, so you need to play for 1 hour straight, and you don't want to miss out on that double XP, otherwise it feels like you're not playing efficiently, and they know this, and that's why that is part of the Battle Pass, and you can actually buy them separately as well. At the end of the day, all of this, the Battle Pass, the operators, whatever's happening in the store, it just comes down to sales. People want to play as their favourite characters in these video games, so people will buy them and they will provide it for you. But to me, it just feels disconnected. It doesn't feel grounded in what I enjoy about playing Call of Duty. Like, why would I want to play as Michael Myers in my Call of Duty game? I don't. And I think with the release of Warzone, Call of Duty did briefly go back to that feeling of being grounded in a sense of realism, at least. It brought back the stakes. It felt like what you were doing was either life or death, and that made it feel important. There was an atmosphere to Warzone when it initially released, before there were all of these crazy skins that kind of just distracted from the experience, for me at least. That feeling that I could die at any second. And yes, there is the gulag, but it's brutal in the same way that World at War felt. And I think that's why initially, when Warzone came out, I really connected with it. And there we go, I die. And that just shows you the brutal reality of a war. There are consequences. Let me just do this gulag. I'm dead. And I think when Warzone initially came out, there was that return to it feeling more grounded, more in reality. Before these crazy skins came into the game and you could play as all these wacky characters, it felt like a return to what World at War had. And now there are Ninja Turtles in the game. I think that it distracts from the game and detracts from the overall experience. When I'm in the war zone and I'm in the battlefield, I expect to see soldiers, not Ninja Turtles or people from Squid Games walking around. It just doesn't feel like Call of Duty anymore. And I think that's why so many people feel disconnected. You boot up the game and it feels more like a content platform than a war zone. Old Call of Duties gave me space to think, to move, and be afraid of dying. Whereas modern Call of Duties are so fast-paced that dying feels like an inconvenience. I just want to get it out of the way as fast as possible so I can continue leveling up. It's all about progression. It's all about leveling up as fast as possible, unlocking those skins. I was guilty of engaging in it myself. I've unlocked a bunch of skins on this game and I'm not even sure why that I did it. And while unlocking skins can be a satisfying experience in the short term, I feel that in the long term it leaves you feeling a little bit hollow. Whereas those feelings of playing the older Call of Duties, it leaves me feeling that I've done something a bit more meaningful with my time, even if at the end of the day it's doing the exact same thing I'm doing in any Call of Duty. For a lot of the time when I was playing this Modern Warfare and other versions of Black Ops, the focus is playing maps like Nuketown or Shipment, where the emphasis is kills, fast as possible. Kill, 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 XP, XP, as fast as you can. And it's non-stop action, non-stop dopamine. I really think that it can burn you out of playing the game. Whereas in the older CODs, you have these moments of slowness. I can find these moments of slowness on this very map. If I stand out here, no one's attacking me. I've got a moment to think. But when most of the player base wants to play Nuketown, they want to play Shipment, they want those fast 24/7 team deathmatch modes where you might get upwards of 90 kills in one game and unlock a whole bunch of gun skins in that very moment. You know where most of the player base's mind is at? They want dopamine. So the focus for me really was in World at War wasn't on vanity. It was on something tangible. I wasn't unlocking things just for vanity's sake. I was unlocking function. It was to unlock a scope. It was to unlock a suppressor. Whereas in this, I'm unlocking it for the sake of vanity. I'm unlocking it just to try and get a gold skin, a platinum skin. Why do I want those things? Because the game tells me I should get them. It's a short-term goal, a short-term feeling of progression, and I like to pin these things down to a sense of purpose. A sense of purpose in the short term that does end up ringing a little bit hollow in the long term. And maybe we're all guilty of that as gamers. The player base is always going to gravitate towards the most effective tactic available, the meta, the thing that's going to level you up the fastest, because it's the way of playing that gives you the most dopamine, the most progression. It inevitably leads to feeling like everything else is a waste of time. Why bother playing a slow-paced, large map where things take time, things take effort, when you could just load into Nuketown and have a very fast-paced team deathmatch experience and unlock all of those skins that you're trying to unlock? Maybe that's why it's so easy to burn out, because the only thing you're building is a collection of skins. I don't hate modern Call of Duty, but I do miss when it used to make me feel something. It used to remind me that war is hell, but now it just reminds me how easy it is to waste my time. I think that these modern gaming experiences focusing on dopamine makes me feel like I never want to actually finish a video game. I just want to use that treadmill for a while and then get off of it when I feel burnt out. So click this video here to see why I can't finish video games anymore. Thanks for listening.